If we're going to survive as a species on this planet, then we have to make very radical changes to the way we relate to each other and the way we relate to nature. And if one thing is absolutely clear coming out of Copenhagen this December, it is that our rulers have got no intention of making the sort of changes that we need to make. Why? Because they've got a vested interest in keeping things as they are. They do very well out of things as they are. And one of the things that we must change in a very radical manner is the way that we transport ourselves. 27% of our carbon emissions come from transport, the vast majority of which come from cars. Absolutely certain that we cannot continue with business as usual in the way that we transport ourselves and the things that we need. It needs a very, very radical change. So what sort of change are we proposing? It is that we replace our utter and total reliance on the motor car with a viable alternative. And for us, the viable alternative is public transport. However, as a first step, we're going to have to bring public transport back into public ownership. The private operators make 25% profit on the revenues. This is totally unacceptable. That money's got to be used for improving the service, to make public transport attractive, so that people use it and leave their cars at home. However, it's not just a case of the profit that they make. A system of buses competing against trams, trams competing against trains, is totally unsustainable. We need a rationally planned transport system. Bring the public transport back into public ownership, integrate the system, make it a more efficient, more effective and more thorough coverage by public transport. And the third aim is to make it a zero-fare transport system free at the point of use. In a recent survey by TNS Marketing, 72% of car users agreed that they would consider leaving their cars behind, using public transport, if it was a zero-fare system. The most effective way of getting people off the roads and onto the buses and trams and trains is to make it a zero-fare, free public transport system. It isn't just a good idea, it's something that's been put into practice in various parts of the world to great success. Hasselt in Belgium in the early 1990s had probably the worst congestion of any city in Europe. Hasselt introduced a zero-fare bus system. Within a year, the number of bus passengers in that city had increased by 100%. In the 13 years since that policy was introduced, the number of bus passengers has increased by 1,300%. A 13-fold increase in the number of bus passengers. The problem of congestion in Hasselt has completely disappeared. And as a result of getting cars off the roads in Hasselt, they've been able to expand pedestrianisation and expand cycleways, so that everybody benefits from this policy. Zagreb in Croatia, a city of 1.2 million, has introduced zero-fare, free public transport in the city centre. Again, the policy has taken cars off the road, reduced congestion, and made things a lot easier for the travelling public. Not only would it aid congestion and help the problems of the environment, but free public transport would also put money back into people's pockets, people who can scarcely afford the bus tickets. And here in Greater Manchester, for example, where a child fare is 80p, ridiculous amount of money. If you're taking a family anywhere, it costs a small fortune, which many people simply can't afford. So making it a zero-fare, free public transport system would also help those who can least afford to pay the ridiculous fares of the Greater Manchester bus companies. Is it a policy that can be afforded? Most certainly it is. It's been estimated that the total revenues of all the bus companies is around £3 billion a year. However, 1.2 billion of that already comes from government subsidy, so the government would only have to find another £1.8 billion a year to fund the fully zero fare bus system. £1.8 billion a year actually pales into insignificance when you compare it to the money wasted on wars, particularly in Afghanistan, on arms expenditure and on bailing out the banks. Over 100 billion has been used to bail out the banks in the past year. We're saying stop giving money to the bankers so that they can pay themselves massive bonuses and start using it to provide a decent public transport system that operates as a service. In the 19th century, we introduced free education for all, a policy that's obviously now taken for granted. In the 20th century, we introduced a free public health service, which now we would scarcely want to do without. For the 21st century, for the health of the planet as well as for the health of individuals, we advocate bringing in a free public transport service. We want public transport to be seen not as a source of profit from the private operators, but as a genuine public service run for the benefit of the people and for the benefit of the planet. So we're here in Wigan today, bringing this policy to the people of Wigan. We've been to several towns around Greater Manchester. We've been to Eccles, Sale, Stockport, Oldham, Bury, Rochdale. Now we're here in Wigan, bringing to the people of Wigan an idea whose time has come, which is for a public transport system massively expanded, fully integrated, publicly owned and free at the point of use. Of course, none of the establishment parties are proposing this policy, but it's something that we need to build a movement up from the grassroots, from the floor, so that we can change it from a good idea into an inevitability if this is what people push for in sufficient numbers. So we're here in Wigan today. Take the leaflet, read the information, check out the website, send us an email so that we can keep in touch with you, sign the petition, take the petitions into your schools, colleges and workplaces, campaign for free public transport, support the campaign today. Thank you.